For the longest time, server rack batteries have been our go-to recommendation for most DIY solar setups, and they still serve a very important purpose. They're modular, easy to expand, and allow you to build your battery bank over time instead of spending a lot all at once. For a lot of people, server rack batteries are still the best choice. However, recently, wall mount batteries are becoming so competitive in price that in many cases, honestly most, they're actually cheaper per kilowatt hour than comparable server rack setups. Which, yes, sounds backwards. After all, server rack batteries have always been known as the budget option. But who are they actually best for, and at what point does a wall mount battery become the smarter buy? Welcome back to the lab, where our opinions cannot be bought. Now, before you guys run out and buy a wall mount battery just because they're cheaper per kilowatt hour, there are reasons why server rack batteries are so popular. The biggest advantage is flexibility. Let's say your goal is to reach, say, 15 or 20 kilowatt hours of storage, but you only have the budget for 5 kilowatt hours right now. With a server rack battery, you can start with one now and then add more later, as your needs or budget grows. This is typically harder to do with a wall mount battery because it's a larger investment at the beginning and often only come in much larger battery capacities compared to a server rack. With server rack batteries, it might look enticing at first because the price is less to start, but it gets more expensive as you keep adding and increasing your battery capacity. But the question is, what is the actual cost difference, and will it matter to your use case? So let's take a look at good cheap batteries like the WattCycle. The rule here is 3 server rack batteries equals 1 wall mount battery, both price-wise and capacity-wise. So for example, WattCycle server rack is $829, which works out to about $162 per kilowatt hour, whereas WattCycle's 314 amp hour wall mounted battery comes at a cost at $2,499, which works out to around $155 per kilowatt hour. So with 3 batteries at $829 each brings you to a total of $2,487. So if you only need 1 or 2 batteries, say 5 to 10 kilowatt hours, your only option is a server rack. Once you need 15 kilowatt hours or a third battery, it makes sense to just buy a wall mount. Yeah, it is a few bucks less than a wall mount, but a server rack system needs a cabinet. WattCycle's cheapest cabinet is $100, and it only fits 2 batteries like we have on the table here. It also has no bus bars, which means you have to buy those additionally. So you can see that the cost of a server rack will add up quite quickly. Even if you keep going, say 6 server racks, your price is $4,974. 2 wall mounts to get you to the exact same capacity is $4,998. At this point, you also need $300 worth of WattCycle cabinets. Other brands are at least $500. And again, you'll still need bus bars to link all these batteries. Cheap brands like WattCycle are often more evenly priced. The server racks, the wall mounts, they're all in the general same area. It's the accessories that cost you an arm and a leg, like the cabinets. At the end of the day, it is cheaper and just cleaner to get a wall mount setup. But keep in mind, if you just want to start small and build your system over time, then that little price difference might not really matter to you. Where you really notice the price difference is when you go to a more premium UL listed server rack battery like this EG4 here. Now, the UL listed doesn't matter for everyone, especially if you're fully off grid. But if you have a hybrid system and you plan to utilize both the grid and solar, a UL listed is necessary. And if you're not sure what UL listing means, or you want to just learn a bit more about it, we do have another video coming out in the future that will walk you guys through it, and you can see if it's something that you might need in your specific setup. So make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss that video. Anyway, going back to the EG4 UL listed server rack battery, one of these LLs are $1,429. That's roughly $279 per kilowatt hour. EG4 sells this as a 6-pack with a cabinet on their website for $9,330, which they make it seem like it's a packaged deal that you save on. But in reality, they're just throwing the cabinet in, which is actually making your price per kilowatt hour go up. the price per kilowatt hour is roughly $303. So technically it is a sale, it's like 50 bucks off, but that doesn't really count in our eyes. But when you compare it to this 314 amp hour indoor wall mount by EG4, it costs $3,399, which is roughly $212 per kilowatt hour. So 2 of these is the exact same battery capacity as that 6-pack bundle. However, the price of 2 of those is $6,799. So with EG4, the price difference between wall mount and server rack is a lot more noticeable. We're looking at a $2,500 difference. Yes, the cabinet from EG4 is $750, but it comes with all the bus bars which you need to pair all the batteries. So with EG4, the bigger you scale, the bigger your cost difference. Keep in mind that these premium server rack batteries are so expensive that buying 2 might not even make sense. At the price of 2 server racks, plus 1 of their mini cabinets, you are at $3,290. With a wall mount, you can get 6,000 more watt hours for basically the exact same price. It's basically $100 more for one of these than it is for 2 of these plus a cabinet. If you're thinking about using premium server racks, then it's a no-brainer to just choose a wall mount. It might cost you a lot of money up front, but at the end of the day, you're gonna save thousands. Any product that we mentioned here today, we will leave links to full review videos in the description and links to all premium and budget batteries that we would actually recommend. There's also going to be some coupon codes to try and save you guys as much money as possible. And if this is too much for you, then we have a link to our solar company quiz that sets you guys up with a vetted solar company in your area that we would actually recommend. But that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching, peace out, and stay charged.